Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to talk about, surprise Marvel Concept Champions, right? Well, it's hardly surprising considering that the entire channel is 100% dedicated to Marvel Concept Champions. But this video is going to be my best attempt to explain what I personally love about this game and why you should potentially play this game, or why you should recommend it to your friend, or if you are currently playing it casually, to explain just how much more this game has to offer. And I'm going to be doing my best to break it down in very simple 5 points. But before we get to these 5 points, I also want to let you guys know that just like Thanos, I like to keep things balanced, and there will be a counter video coming to this particular video, where I'm going to talk about 5 potential deal breakers with Marvel Concept Champions. If you're interested in that video, that will be uploaded tomorrow. However, let's get to the good stuff first. And reason number 1, the first and possibly the most important reason, and something that should potentially outweigh everything else. Marvel Concept Champions community is without a doubt amazing. Marvel Concept Champions is extremely large community that mainly resides in well, different places. There are different subsections of the community. There are people who primarily use Kabam Forum, there are people who primarily use Reddit, and then we have very active Discord and line chat communities. And then obviously there are communities surrounding several different YouTube channels as well. But overall, I must say, community is very resourceful, very positive. There are a ton of amazing and redeeming qualities in it. Yeah, sure, of course, we do have our occasional fat basement dwelling keyboard warriors with YouTube channel, or just a general toxic attitude. And that's fine. There is absolutely no escaping people like that in any single community, or wherever, whether it's gaming or otherwise. But vast majority, overwhelmingly, people who play this game are awesome. This community has come together multiple times, helped people with COVID relief. They raised a lot of money for Australian bushfires, and they have done a ton of smaller individual heartwarming things, like doing fundraisers for players, or just remembering well, those who need to be remembered most at any given times. And time and time again you can witness the resilience and the determination of this community to this game and to each other. And I love that, and that is awesome, and that is by far the biggest and the best reason to play this game, in my opinion. But let's go on to reason number 2, and that is longevity. Now, you may or may not be aware of a statistic about online mobile games in particular, such as Marvel Concept Champions. Then you could possibly be aware of that an average mobile game lasts about 2 years. It kind of like peaks within months of its release, and it pretty much dies out and dies down on average at about 2-year mark. Now, Marvel Concept Champions has been going on for 6 years now, so that's triple the average. And it's not slowing down. It's actually quite opposite. No matter what anybody says to you, the revenue numbers for Marvel Concept Champions have been consistent, and they have been consistently increasing. Therefore, the game, somehow, is still on the rise. And that is one of the coolest things, because if you even pick up this game right now, you can expect to be playing this game for a considerable amount of time. You don't have to worry that the game will just poof and stop releasing updates, stop releasing characters. It's a very large mobile game with a very large community, and also very bright future prospects in general compared to vast majority of mobile games. that is definitely a good reason to pick up this game in particular over many other Marvel or fighting games. And also, with the longevity of the game, we're moving into the point number 3, that the game has extremely huge amount of elements combined in it, and there is an extremely huge amount of content you could do. Like, if you download the game right now, it will quite literally take you a year or years to completely do all the content that's available already in the game and permanent. Or at the very least, it'll definitely would be a matter of months to explore hardest acts, to explore hardest Everest type of content. So there is a ton of things to do, unlike many other games that you could pick up and you'd be kind of like done with it, or you'd be caught up within like a few weeks or something. This game guarantees you an extremely large amount of content that you will not run out. And they also do a great job of keeping players busy, even people like me who have done everything, who have caught up with everything. There's always the next thing that you want to go for. There's the next thing that you want to achieve. There's always something to do. Yes, there are more quiet months, but that is for like the 0.001% of the people who play this game. Typically, there's always stuff to do in this game because there's such a huge amount of content. But also, because of the longevity of the game, there is something more. There's something else. Because this game started out simple enough, and then it has grown more and more complex. This game combines aspects of, I don't know, Pokemon, where you got to catch them all because you collect champions, and effectively you kind of like scratch that itch of collecting and upgrading. Then you also combine the aspects of your fighting game, of your Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or whatever else you like to play these days, because that is the core mechanic. Everything built around this game is based on 6 functions on a 2D fighting screen where you tap or dash or activate special attack. But there are so many different facets to champions, to nodes, to node combinations, to team building, to ranking up, to making educated decisions. So we have the collectors part of it, we have the fighting part of it, and then there is a strategist part of it, which is kind of like taken from RPG, where you build up your own account and you invest in yourself and resources that are available to you by changing your mastery setups and many other different things. So there's that RPG aspect to it. And lastly, there's also strategy and team mode, so to speak, because you do typically play with a group of 29 other people, and you have to work together to earn like some of the greatest rewards in the game. So we have many different, let's say, subcategories of games all crammed into this one superficially simplistic looking game, but there is a lot of different layers and levels to playing this game. There are people who do it casually, which is fine. There are people who have done it for a while, relatively casually, therefore have amassed a decent knowledge base and know their way around. And then there are more hardcore players. And no matter which way you choose, there is always a lot to do, and there are always points of excitement to it. And reason number 4. Reason number 4 might be a bit more cheesy, might be a bit more irrelevant to some people, but it is also extremely important. Because this game, at least on a personal level, has definitely brought me closer to the Marvel universe, and I'm able to enjoy all other Marvel content on kind of like a different plane. Because I'm invested in this game, and because I have, we can say, somewhat more of an intimate connection to a lot of characters in this game, because I remember who I rank, because champions that I like and dislike, I am also able to combine my view on the champions in this game with the Marvel characters themselves in other literature. Therefore, all of a sudden, some of the MCU movies are a lot more interesting. All of a sudden, some of the videos about upcoming things about Marvel are a lot more interesting. Or Some of the videos just going over comic history do fascinate me. Because I play this game, I have learned a ton of information about Marvel characters that otherwise would have remained obscure to me. And I kind of find it cool because we do have obviously all the staples that we have seen in X-Men cartoons and Iron Man. And I myself have not been the biggest comic reader, but I can definitely say that my knowledge about Marvel in general has expanded tenfold since starting to play this game, largely just because it reignited and encouraged my interest in Marvel in general, but also because of how this game is set and because of the added extra Easter eggs, tidbits of knowledge, or just being around people who like Marvel. So that is definitely a good enough reason for me to recommend this game in particular, because I do genuinely feel that it has brought me a lot closer to all of the other MCU literature, MCU and Marvel in general. And I like that. I enjoy that. I enjoy the fact that I care about characters more than I did before. And the last one might be the most obscure here. But this might be the only game that I have played for such a long amount of time ever that still can get my heart racing. Now, part of that comes down to obviously amazing animations and a very kind of like smooth gameplay experience. Recommend iPhone for that, by the way. But a huge part of that also comes down to the fact that this game somehow knows how to make a game matter, if that makes sense. I have played a ton of different games in my life, but very few of them ever have truly, properly made my heart race. As in, like, when it comes down to the wire. And this game can. Now, it can be different game modes or different things that obviously excite you more. For me personally, nothing quite beats the excitement in this game when you are in a high-tier, competitive, close, nail-biter alliance war where you are facing off against another extremely strong alliance. Because then you don't fight just for yourself. You fight for your team, you fight for the title, you fight for the top spot in the game, or maybe next progression or something. And it often, much more often than not, that is the game mode that can make my hand shake, make my voice tremble, make my heart race. And that is something special, especially in a mobile video game. But it's special for any game at all. And anything that gives you that rush, that heart pumping, the blood, your hands sweating, hands shaking, that's about as good as entertainment and as a game can be. From me, that is the ultimate praise to a game. The game can be perfectly made, the game can be smooth, the gameplay can be interesting and can be complex and can be fun, but if it doesn't get you excited to a point where your hands start shaking, it's not doing something right. And this game, after 6 years of playing it, still can get my heart racing. It can still make some rewards that are arbitrary matter for whatever reason. And it still excites me. And that's 6 years down the line. And that is quite simply the summary of 5 main reasons why Marvel Console Champions is an amazing game. And I do recommend you to pick it up and give some attention to it. But that is it for today's video. As I said, I like things balanced. There will be a counter video of this coming out tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, I'll catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information